What's up everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fights channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So finally, the developers have put down their performance expectations for Hogwarts Legacy based on the hardware that you're using. They talked about the console and the PC requirements, which changed slightly, but nothing crazy in my opinion, but something to watch out for depending on what it is or what your machine is capable of actually powering up in terms of the juice you can put out. Now we're going to go ahead and look at the console version first and talk about some of the things that the developers have laid out in terms of performance that you can expect. So in a Q&A section of their website, they ask what modes are available for Hogwarts Legacy in terms of graphics for the PS5 and Series X and S. And the developers are actually saying that you can be sure that the most common of the modes are the fidelity mode, which runs at 30 FPS, and the performance mode, which targets 60 FPS. Now, keep something in mind. The wording of how the 60 FPS is leaving room for marginal frame rate performance. So I can almost guarantee you that when you're indoors or in enclosed areas, you're more than likely going to be getting your full 60 plus FPS experience. No doubt about that, because of the way Unreal Engine works in enclosed areas. It's kind of weird. But then when you go in the open world, I guess this is a place where when magic spells start flying and all kinds of different things start to load, you might want to be a little bit more lenient in your expectations. So this is what I think this means. Correct me in the comment section if you think that, there is a discrepancy with my own description. I'll be happy to, learn from you in that rate. Now, the variable refresh rates also are supported. So this is nice. If you have a 4K monitor, you can pretty much do some really cool stuff on the Xbox. I haven't really messed around with the PlayStation 5's VRR settings and modifications. So Xbox is the one that I'm quite aware of, and I've actually seen some improvements when you use a 4K monitor to play and actually use some of these capabilities. Looking at the PC version, we can see that the minimum specs actually have changed. So if you actually look very closely, they have the same thing on Steam here as well. They're talking about now for minimum specs, you have enough minimum specs to play at 720, 30 FPS. This is actually a good thing. So this is pushing things back down in terms of comparability with some of the games that ran on the PlayStation 4. So 720p, 30 FPS, a decent performance mode that can give you a game that will play functionally well for you. So if you have a machine that actually is better than some of the requirements that they set up here, then it looks like you're good to go. An i5-6600, I think it's a quad-core CPU, 16 gigs of RAM, 4 gigs of GPU processing VRAM. That's basically all you need. An SSD will be nice, so one of those cheap SSDs can get the job done. No need for anything crazy. Under recommended requirements, they are also going with the i7-8700. They want you to maybe use a Ryzen 5 3600 if that's something you have, and then a 1080 Ti and also a 5700 XT with the Intel Arc A770. Now, my question is, the 1080 Ti is actually quite powerful. It's more powerful than the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X's GPUs because it has 11 gigs of VRAM. It's literally the kingpin and one of the unbeaten, kings of performance in terms of NVIDIA's lineup. It's quite legendary. Now, it doesn't have ray tracing. That's going to be the only drawback, but the game is not necessarily providing much details about ray tracing and those capabilities. Honestly, I don't think we really need to deal with those right now until we get more powerful consoles come on the block. But I'll leave that as a whole different topic, for another day. But here's what the difference is. I did make a video earlier a few days ago, and the minimum requirements and the minimum settings they were talking about were basically 1080p at 60 FPS at low quality settings using an i5-8400 compared to an i5-6600 for low settings. So now if you think about the i5-8400, that's probably going to be sitting somewhere in the middle here to be able to get those low 1080p settings. So there is a range here that the old PC requirements were highlighting at that time. In regard to the new requirements for, the recommended settings, nothing seems to have changed, which is actually pretty good. So here's what I think. I think they've been able to figure out a version of the game that probably is able to make some really cool sacrifices to give gamers the option of getting the game to play at wonderful fidelity, good, performance overall, even though there's probably going to be some detail that's not going to be visible overall. To me, graphical fidelity has always always been one of the biggest lessons I've learned in regard to a video game. A game ought to be able to play very smooth at any rate. The frame rate is probably going to be something that some people might talk about here and there, but honestly, if your game plays very solid at 30 FPS, it's going to give you a very good experience. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm some kind of, console or PC elitist. I played on console for many, many years until I started doing YouTube videos, and I still do play on console. In fact, I still play some games on 30 FPS. Yes, there is a stark difference, but overall, if the game is good, it would not necessarily ruin your experience for the most part. Some people have said that 30 FPS, causes them dizziness. Well, I guess that's something where, you'll probably have to maybe move platforms to get consistent 60 FPS, maybe like staying on PC so that every game that shows up, you can run it at that frame rate or more. But I'm happy right now that on the console side, we are getting this performance metrics for Hogwarts Legacy. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know how you're going to experience this game. Let me know what direction it is that you're, probably choosing or leaning to go. I know for some of you that wanted to play at 60 FPS and bought the PC version, this might influence your, It might influence your decision making, and you might go for a refund on your Steam version and maybe go for your PlayStation 5 or maybe your Xbox versions, because if you can get anything, maybe even close to 45 FPS, for you, that's already okay, and you can get the comfort of playing on your console. For me, it's already a hard decision. I was going to buy the PC version. I refunded that to get the deluxe. So now I'm probably going to go for another version on the Xbox because I really want to play on the Xbox this time around. I'm just in that position where I want to play a little bit more on the console because it's just a little bit more convenient. PC is for production for the most part. Yes, it gives me good gaming experiences whenever, but I guess I'll have to decide at the end of the day. You guys will know nonetheless. But like I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and thanks so much for watching the video, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.